Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Stephen Howson. This is post-match review, Manchester United against Brentford. Somehow we managed to pull off a 3-1 victory. And at half-time, if you'd have said to me, Steve, which way is this going? I'd have been like, man, honestly, I feel like it could be 0-0. Absolutely 0-0-tastic. But it wasn't. We came out in the second half. And here's the thing. We have a lot of chances, but we were clinical with those chances that we took. So I think you've got to give us a little bit of credit for that. I think you've got to say to us, yeah, fair play. Brentford is a genuinely tricky place to go to. So I was happy with that performance. I was happy with the shape of United, both in and out of possession. I think that's important. Yeah, as Ross Murphy says in the comments, 3 academy players scoring the goals for Manchester United tonight. I like that, obviously. Big proponent of the club having an identity and playing our academy products. And 3 of them coming up with a good taking the 3 points away for us tonight. Didn't agree with one decision in particular, which was starting Lindelof, but I actually thought, and I'll give him credit because I didn't think he would be able to cope with him. I thought Lindelof coped all right with Tony. First 10 minutes or so, didn't look like it was going to be the case, did it? But I thought Lindelof and Varane as a partnership looks a hell of a lot more secure and certainly better in possession, I would say, than Varane and Maguire or Maguire and Lindelof has looked. So I think that's something for us to work on. And this obviously comes on the back of the sort of stories that Ralph Rangnick has been telling the seniors and the chiefs at Manchester United, that Shaw, Wan-Bissaka and Maguire are not fit to play for Manchester United. Well, all 3 of them didn't start tonight, and United came away with 3 points. I'm not saying that's definitely the answer, but I'm also not saying it definitely isn't the answer as well. Joe, what I just thought I'd say to you is I'm absolutely bricking it that this is going to cut off midstream, because there's something wrong with my laptop. We are on 6%, and it's 6% and not charging, and streaming from a laptop like I'm doing at home typically is not the best thing for your laptop to do. So it eats up a lot of power when you're doing it. So if it just fucking goes off midstream, it probably won't be coming back. So I just thought I'd tell you that. So give it a like and make sure to get your comments in nice and early before it does die, because I think there's a very strong chance that it does die. Steve, the lads on Paddock were very downbeat during that second half. I was surprised. Well, it's hard work, isn't it? So that's the game. When you're doing a watch along, it ain't the easiest thing in the world to do. It's very difficult to talk, be entertaining, and actually take in what's going on in the game. And that's one reason I don't personally like doing them. I think anyone who's watched me can probably figure that out. The ones I enjoy the most, the ones that get shit-faced. That's what I like to do. If we go through the team then, let's have a think about how it went. So, as the title says, is 4-3-3 the answer? I think it might be. It was good to see Bruno operate in a more disciplined kind of role tonight. I thought he was very good at that. And it was good to see how the rest of that forward line linked up, utilised everything they were going to do with playing alongside and with Ronaldo. And it didn't look like they were really getting in each other's ways. It looked like they actually linked up quite well as a forward 3. Ronaldo and a couple of academy products in Elanga, and congratulations on getting that goal tonight. And Mason Greenwood, and congratulations on him getting his goal tonight that he got. Very well taken, could have easily strayed offside with that one. I think Bruno being a lot deeper. I think because he is an organiser, you can see him communicating with the rest of the team, and I think that was important for us. And even in the first half, I thought we were good without being great. I thought it was boring, but it wasn't as wrong and as obviously terrible as we'd seen it in previous games, particularly in the circumstances. As a lot of people are mentioning in the comments there, Zinclose just one says, Elanga was refreshing today. Elanga is proof that you have to take your chances. Nothing is offered to you on a plate. You work for it like Elanga did, and then you get your opportunity. And now he's come and scored a first-team goal. You try getting him out of that team. Be walking on cloud 9. Liam says, I thought we handled Tony okay. Tony's definitely the threat. We kind of helped cutting off the supply to him. But they also had, I think, 18 chances with 8 on target. De Gea did need to be at the races today. A lot of the shots were pretty weak and pretty straightforward for him, admittedly. But we still had a lot of shots to deal with. Mako there with a super chat. He says, Fred seems to be our best crosser of the ball. Why isn't he taking corners? That's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout, to be honest with you. Someone says, why am I streaming the same time as Paddock? I didn't know what time they were going live. And only 10% of the views come from the live anyway, so it's not a massive issue. Thoughts on Maguire, says Martin. My thoughts on Maguire are this. When United were a counter-attacking side, he was a brilliant asset to us. When you've got players tightly in around him, he can win duels, he can knock it down, he can give it to players who can actually play football to a great degree of him. He's actually quite effective stepping out, certainly when he does it in a 3. In a 2, I think he's a bit slow on the ball, and I think he's certainly slow with his back to goal, and when he's high up the pitch, I think that's an issue for him. I didn't think he looked confident today when he came on. I thought he looked shaky when he came on. And I don't think you would ever give a centre-half minutes unless there was something else that he was trying to do. So it's an interesting one. What do we think is going to happen with him? You look again at West Ham and you see potentially a very direct threat that Lindelof doesn't match up well with. Do we try and establish a little bit more control in the game by having Lindelof and Varane who can play the ball and operate as that base? Because we actually held possession quite well today in our midfield and in our defence because we had ball players in there, despite the fact that we were still making up for having Fred in there. I'm more talking about Bruno being a bit further back, and also Varane and Lindelof providing a platform and playing out through Dalot and Telles, because we did that quite often. Ellen Wheels says, hello from Western Norway. I know it's only Brentford, but I hope this spawns confidence. You can only beat what's in front of you. I would agree with that one. And Cosplay Gamer says, happy for Marcus scoring tonight, and Elanga looks a gem. All 3 goals from Academy products. Good to see, and hopefully the start of Marcus being able to relax a little bit, because he looks very tense when he's playing. Fred there says, McTominay had a hell of a game today. Rather see him with the armband than Slabhead. Whoa, that's a hell of a call. I agree, he had a good game. I don't know if he's quite captain at materials. Seth says, MUFC Chicago here. Welcome from the Windy City. Great win, much needed. The answer we're looking for, just to play more academy boys, or do we need the Dick-led races of the world for 100 mil? Oh, the Declan Rices of the world for 100 mil. I don't think you need to be spending £100 million on players. I really don't. I think there's very few players that are worth £100 million. Danny says, Maguire came on and melted the defence. Immediately looked shaky and clumsy. Media is getting to him. He's not right physically and mentally for United. I might have to agree with you. Sometimes United can be too big. You've listened to players talk about the impact that it has in the intrusion, and how every single thing you do when you're Manchester United captain especially now becomes instant news. And that's the what's it one. Paddock are beating me in the lives, just put it out there. Paddock's also got like fucking 600,000 subscribers. Of course they are. It's not a competition, lads. It's just a bit of opinion that's going out there. Stop trying to put everything head to head. Sometimes these are collaborations. I'll be doing one on Paddock in a little bit, but I also want to get to bed before midnight. So do you know what I'm saying? Alex says, celebrating 10 months subscribed, and also bothering you every day with a nice win. Nice one. Welcome. Kim in the comments says, Elanga looks the real deal. Telles and Dalot look more settled tonight. Sam, I wonder how much of that is by them two hearing, because I'm sure they know, that Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka aren't good enough for United according to the manager. Because if I'm the so-called backup fullbacks, and I'm thinking I've got to play out my skin every single week to be able to play for this guy, then what happens when I hear, actually, he doesn't think these two are good enough for United and he picks me every week? I'm thinking, okay, I have an opportunity here to be able to show something. Happy days. Thoughts on Ronaldo being subbed off? He missed a couple of games. It's not a big deal. Do I think Sancho will slot into the 4-3-3 well? Yes. Dalot had a decent shot on him. I'd love to see one of those go in. We wouldn't have got through Paris, would we, if he hadn't tried pulling the trigger that time? Thoughts on Marshall on the bench? Who cares? The guy's doing everything he can to get out of here. So, who cares? De Gea's kicking Lancers into too much trouble. Proven again tonight. His reflex save was excellent, though. I hope somebody can really start getting to grips with that. Thoughts on Ronaldo being unhappy, being subbed off? I didn't actually see him being unhappy when he got subbed off, so maybe I missed that one. So I can't really comment on what I've not seen there. One guy to pull the strings from too deep, says Lambert. Not too much to ask. Yeah, I'd agree with that. United are kind of desperate for that sort of thing, aren't they? Alex says, yep, fullbacks looked definitely more assured and definitely going forward, and they seem to have much better quality than Wan-Bissaka and Shaw. Am I going to watch the West Ham game live? No, so I won't be doing a review immediately afterwards. No, I'm probably going to catch the match late on Saturday. So I will do 5 things on Sunday, and I will do a review maybe if I get the opportunity. If it's not within a couple of hours of the game, I won't bother. Paddock are kicking off at 3 o'clock, so I have more responsibilities to the team, so I've got to cover that one. Can I recommend some books on football tactics? Yes. Where do you want to start? I'm still here. I just knocked the camera off. Is it back on? Hang on. The camera's coming back on. There it is. It's back on. I've not gone anywhere. Relax yourselves. This is a good one called Through the Thirds by Tony Mee. Defending Tactics by Diego Simeone. Obviously. Don't tell anyone, but he's pretty good. But actually, and you can see by how well thumbed this one is. We were pretty good when he was here, weren't we? I'd probably start there, to be honest. There's another couple up here that are quite good. Let me get this one. That one's pretty good. Coaching transition play. Get them all read. I saw a comment a second ago. Thoughts on Mwamba's video? There's no one in this world better placed to talk on than Fabrice Mwamba, in my opinion, about suffering a cardiac arrest playing a football match and whether or not you should play again. Apparently a doctor has cleared Christian Eriksen. I don't know how I feel about that, because obviously a doctor and a cardiologist is clearly going to know more than some fucking YouTuber is. But I don't feel right about it, in all honesty. I don't feel right about it. I can imagine, as Fabrice said, anytime he goes out to play now, there's going to be added emphasis on watching him, analysing him. Anytime he puts his hand anywhere near his chest, everyone's going to be, oh, what's going on here? Anytime anything like that happens, everyone's going to be shitting themselves, and God forbid the worst happens with him. What are we going to do? How can anyone stand by? And he has to be his own man, and he has to be, he has to be leading his own story, doesn't he? He has to be the guy that makes the decisions about his own life. Fabrice says it was a doctor that told him that he couldn't play, and he was like, okay. And he hasn't played since. How is it any different? I know Fabrice was out for, I believe, 78 minutes, which is mental, isn't it? Mental. 78 minutes unresponsive. That's fucking dead, isn't it? And it wasn't 78 minutes. I'm not sure the exact time. It was pretty quick, I think, that they managed to get Christian Eriksen back round again. It certainly wasn't nearly an hour and a half at least, nearly a full game. But I don't feel comfortable seeing him. I thought that was him done, and I thought he said he was retiring. And if the doctors in Italy are like, no, don't do it. I mean, he's 30 or 29, isn't he? Just call it a day, mate. I mean, Fabrice retired at 23. If anyone's going to have skeletons in the closet about not wanting to be able to call it a day on a career, surely it was him. When you've had a full career, you've had a hell of a career, Christian Eriksen. You don't need to push it to this extent, do you? Not for me. If you've not seen it anyway, Fabrice Mwamba's actually got a YouTube channel. Go check it out. Go check it out and see what what you think on it, actually. Because like I said, there's no one that can do it better. Blim plays with a pacemaker and he's still going strong in Eredivisie, says Edu Manik. I don't think it's just a pacemaker. Yes, Blin plays with a pacemaker, but isn't that because wasn't his heart doing the wolf heart syndrome thing where it speeds up? I could be wrong on that one. Don't quote me on that one. I think it was doing that. The same thing that Dan Hardy had. Dan Hardy had this thing where his heart would just run away. Your heart has a regulator, which obviously regulates the beats per minute in it, and it regulates your beats per minute when you're exercising. And I believe the wolf heart syndrome thing that Dan Hardy had, which stopped him fighting, which I think he got cleared to fight again after it, was because his heart potentially didn't have an upper limiter on it no more. So it stops at like your 200, 220 beats per minute when you're maxed out. Well, theoretically, his heart wasn't necessarily going to do that, which is, obviously placing it under seriously undue strain. If you start hitting like 400-500 beats per minute, I don't know if it's going to fucking explode, rip apart, whatever the fuck it's going to do. It doesn't sound like it's capable of doing that, does it? So that's the reason that Dan Hardy was advised to stop. Yeah. And Daily Blind, obviously, I don't believe had suffered cardiac arrest. I think they found a murmur in his heart or something. Wolf, Parkinson, White syndrome, thank you. Ask Shy, that's what Dan Hardy had. Was it the same thing that Blind had, or am I just wrong? I'm just completely fucking wrong. Let's get back on the game anyway. So Danny Foster says Varane was class and assured at the back. Also want to point out, I think, I haven't seen the exact stats, but I did have a glance over the completed passes. I think Bruno is somewhere in the 90% range for his pass completion tonight. Different. And actually managed to get some assists under his belt too. Interesting. Benching Ronaldo was good, but replacing with Maguire, well, we didn't fucking concede till he came on the pitch today. I'm just saying. Thoughts on the role Delo played? Thought Delo played well. I think he's probably settling into the game. He's had a decent few run of games now. It was fairly impressive when he in his first game for a while, and he seems to maybe have ridden that little bumpy sort of getting back into the rhythm of things, and seems like he's gone and stepped it up a little bit. Who was my man of the match? I'd say Bruno, but I can understand McTominay, I think that's the one. Thoughts on McTominay holding a 6 rolling on? He's a plaster